Alright, hello everyone, welcome back. This is the video for Execute Rotation Guide for Arms Warrior. At first I have to warn you because perfecting, like playing a perfect execute rotation with a two-hander is beyond difficult to say the least. Like it's not even funny. And there is another way to tackle execute phase, which is not only easier, but will result in almost the same DPS. And in addition, you can still use a little bit of min-max with the easier method, so it's not too easy for you, so you don't get bored. And if you are not interested in how to play execute rotation with a two-hander, because it's not really that important for you to continue two-handing on execute phase. Like if you're if it doesn't matter to you, if you're dual wield or two-hander, you can skip ahead to like the last part of the video where I explain how to swap on to dual wield in the 20% phase, so an execute phase, to do like a more easy rotation with still a good outcome in terms of DPS. Alright, so with that out of the way, we can start with the explanation for the rotation of the two-hand warrior execute phase. So execute has a very poor trait when we compare rage spent to damage inflicted to the target. Like if we look here, we pay 15 rage for only 900 damage. That's like way less than for example Slam would deal for 15 rage, and it's if you put 5 rage on top of that, it's still a lot less damage than Whirlwind would do and stuff like this. So yeah, that means you can only really use execute as a way to stop yourself from overcapping rage, because if you overcap rage, it's a lot more rage inefficient than using an execute in the right situation. So one way you can use execute, for example, is to enhance or to complete your free hit combo if there's no other option. If you don't know why a free hit combo is important for arms, you want to look the guide that is linked right now in the video. So, but this method of enhancing or completing your free hit combo with execute only applies if you have like Wind Fury and Salt Spec, or you get some rage through damage that is inflicted to you, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to use your efficient way of slamming. If efficient way of slamming doesn't really tell you anything, I will link the video right now as well. So what many people do in execute phase is they just spam execute with a two-hander, which is most of the time a DPS decrease compared to just your standard rotation, because it's less rage efficient and you're not able to do free hit combos with that. This gap between those two variants widens with gear, of course, because execute doesn't really scale that well on gear. It scales a little bit, obviously, but not as well as your standard rotation would scale on equipment. So this is why this gap will even widen more, or will even be bigger the further we go into the expansion. However, if you get like insanely lucky with extra attack procs and maybe get a little extra rage because of damage taken, it can be a DPS increase, so you could basically gamble for more DPS. So yeah, if you just spam execute and you get extremely lucky, you can increase your DPS compared to your normal rotation, and that's like a thing that is already pretty interesting if you ask me. So we mainly have 3 different situations in that we can find ourselves I call them the neutral situation, the medium rage situation, and the ultra rage situation. So, in the neutral situation, which would be no extra rage via damage taken, no recklessness, and no extra attack proc luck, we want to only use our normal rotation, unless of course we want to gamble for procs, because with normal rotation we couldn't beat a DPS player that we don't like. So in the next situation I explained, it is the ultra rage situation, in which we get a ton of rage via damage taken, or we have a shit ton of procs with recklessness, stuff like that. What we do here is very easy, and the best thing ever for our DPS. We just spam execute, because otherwise we would overcap too much and hitting like 6 to 9k crits every 1.5 seconds, plus your auto attack, plus your auto attacks and your Vid Fury procs is a DPS number you can't beat with normal rotation ever. Because yeah, it results in like 6 to 7 to 8k DPS even. So yeah, there's that. So, alright, now comes the more complicated situation, where we have recklessness up and maybe get a little bit of rage via damage taken. So yeah, this would be like the medium rage situation, which unfortunately is the situation we find ourselves most of the time. So the first option is like your auto attack comes through, we have 30 rage, so we hit slam into execute to complete the 3-hit combo. This is always available if you have only 30 rage after the slam in this scenario, because we get a little bit of rage for the boss mechanics that we have, maybe recklessness up. So like I explained at the start, this is a situation where you can use your execute as the 3-hit combo finisher. So second option is we use execute as a way to advance the 3-hit combo from our standard rotation into a 4-hit combo. So that means that if you used a 3-hit combo and after that you still have more than 50 rage left, 50 rage left over, you can press execute. So yeah, to save yourself from overcapping rage. So the other option is to advance the 3-hit combo with execute, or the other option to advance that can be used if you can press Mortal Strike or Whirlwind or Victory Rush right after the execute. In this case, it doesn't matter how much rage you can spend with execute, you just hit it. Why you can only use it if you can follow it up with an attack that is not slam, you may wonder. That's because using a 4th hit in your combo will scuff your slam timing because of the GCD. Here I will show you what I mean again. I did this a couple of times before in other videos, but let's just do it again. So let's play the situation. We use slam, we use Mortal Strike, we use execute, and now we couldn't slam, so we scuffed our slam timing, not only by having not enough rage for using slam in the efficient method, but as well because of the GCD. So I do it again, slam, whirlwind, Mortal Strike, and now we cancel a lot of our auto attack time because the GCD was still running, and when we like running in the situation where we would normally want to press our slam, so this would mean that we can only use a delayed slam. And if we do not have a ton of rage available right in this situation, we don't want to use a delayed slam. Or if we can, like you can avoid it just by pressing another button, right? So let's pretend that hamstring is execute for this example. So we use slam, Mortal Strike, execute, and then we can Whirlwind without cancelling anything, and now we can use a nice slam here, like a good timed slam. So what can happen, however, is that your slam or your Mortal Strike triggers a Wind Fury, what will reset your string timer back to full again. And therefore you can press execute here without losing the perfect slam window. So yeah, how I can make this visible to you? Not really. I could try, however. Let's see. So let's pretend that our swing timer is here and we press a slam. So then after the slam the swing timer would be kinda like here, and then we press our Mortal Strike right about here, and it will reset our swing timer back to full. So we can then 1.5 seconds will run down, and then it will be round about here, so on 1.6, 1.7 seconds. So we could easily press execute here or another button without losing our perfect slam timing window. So if it would reset here, we can yeah, still use slam. So you always have to watch your swing timer, and if your swing timer is below 1.5 seconds, you don't really want to press any other button that causes GCD, unless here some nuances are there that I explained to you. So if you can advance your 3-hit combo to 4 hits with Whirlwind or Mortal Strike, you always want to do that, of course, unless you have 80 plus rage. So if you have 80 plus rage after the third hit of your 3-hit combo, you do not want to use Whirlwind as a 4th hit finisher. You want to use execute, because if you press Whirlwind or Mortal Strike and you get extra attack proc and it crits, combine that with the rage you got by the damage that has been inflicted to you, because remember, right now we are in this situation, you will overcap by a ton. So this is again a situation where you want to press execute instead. So all of this is like extremely complicated and super difficult, and only really this to try this rotation or to do like the right rotation with a two-hander is like only really like play. It's basically like you would sit down to play Sudoku, right? Like you kind of want to do this little math challenge to be proud of yourself if you completed the right way. But yeah, you can because even if you have these 3 situations right now, these situations do shift throughout the boss fight. Like sometimes you are in the neutral situation, and then all of a sudden you get a lot of procs, or you pull aggro from one of the ads that came in, or something like this. Doesn't matter. So all of a sudden you are in the medium rage situation, and you didn't even realize it fast enough, so you overcap, or you get instantly into ultra rage situation, and then you overcap and stuff like this. So yeah, these situations can shift throughout each other, and yeah, this is like extremely insane. Yeah, if you still are interested in perfecting this rotation, I suggest you play a lot of instances, like dungeons, and practice right in there, or you record in addition you record not only your dungeon runs but as well your raids, and you could even consider level up another warrior, so you get more raid fights in a week. And then you record all that footage and you watch it over and over again and analyze your own mistakes. And this is like really only the way you could ever become good enough to perfect this rotation. Yeah, so let's go to the part of the video in which I explain to you the other method that you most likely want to use for your execute rotation, and that is swapping to dual wield. So you want to get your hands on two good one-handers. If you're using a sword, it would be ideally the main hand should have high top end, so it's most likely going to be slow, and the offhand should be a fast one. So why is that? That is because you are most likely sword spec'd, and sword spec procs can only proc if the attack was done with a sword. So if your offhand hits and your offhand is a sword, it can proc a sword spec. And the weapon that is used for the sword spec proc will be your main hand, even if your offhand procced the sword spec. So this is why you want to have a fast one in your offhand and a high hitting slow one in your main hand. So with this out of the way, yeah, if you use an axe, you obviously want an axe in your main hand. The offhand is a Wayne, it can be a sword, doesn't really matter. Yeah, but if you have axes skilled, you obviously want to use an axe. Or if you have mace, you know what I mean. So what you want to do is you simply swap to dual wield, and then you just, let me get to execute phase on this guy, then you just spam your execute. You only press heroic strike if you have like tons of rage available to you. So if you are in the medium state or in the ultra rage scenario, then you press heroic strike. So why you press heroic strike? This is just so it's another way to stop yourself from overcapping. And the other thing is that I need to explain right now. This has to do with the min-maxi thingy you can do. And this is called heroic strike cheese, and it's basically, remember, if you Q heroic strike, your next auto attack will be a yellow, so that means it cannot glance and it will have only a 9% chance to miss on a boss. Not like dual wield normal attacks would have like 18 or something ridiculous like that chance to miss. But with heroic strike queued, your auto attack will be the yellow and it has 9% chance to miss, and it will not glance. So if your heroic strike is queued for your main hand, in that time the hits with your offhand are counted as yellows as well. Even though the number will be a white one on the screen, it still is calculated as a yellow, so it will never miss and it will not glance. It will not glance. So this is why heroic strike is really efficient. And now here comes the trick you can do. Let's say, for example, you have 15 rage, yes, and then you queue up your heroic strike because like your global is running, is like you are on global cooldown right now. You queue up your heroic strike, your offhand lands a hit, and then you can cancel your heroic strike when the GCD is over and your swing didn't came through. You can cancel it for an execute, because if you would spend that 15 rage for the heroic strike or the 12, depend on like your skill points, then you couldn't press execute, and you do not want to prioritize heroic strike over execute. So this is the execute, the heroic strike cheese you can do. And yeah, that's all for this video, I think, and I hope this helps you a lot, and we will see ourselves in the next one.